Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Obviously, I'm here today to, yesterday we announced that we had signed Jay Woodcroft to a new 3-year contract to be the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. It's a great day for the Oilers. Jay did an incredible job once he took over and leading our team into the playoffs. I think we were 6 or 7 points out of a playoff spot, and we played at a high level the last half of the season, and obviously got us to the Final Four. So thrilled that we were able to find a solution to bring Jay in. Look forward to working with Jay here over the next 3 years to continue to build on what we accomplished last year. Jay's got a lot of energy, a ton of passion. The team really responded to him, certainly in my exit meetings when I talked to all the players. Unanimously, everybody in that, all the players loved working with Jay and what he did for our franchise. So exciting day. Great day for me to be able to announce that Jay's coming back. So looking forward to the next season and this off season with Jay as we build to bigger things. Jay.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. I just want to say hi to everyone there in the media and let everybody know how excited I am. I in February mentioned at the time how humbled and privileged I feel to be the head coach of such a proud organization, and that's certainly how I feel today. I want to thank the organization for their belief in me, and it's a responsibility I take quite seriously, but I'm super excited about and looking forward to getting started in our preparations for next year.
Thank you for those statements. We'll now move to questions. We'll start with Reed Wilkins, 630 Chad.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Jay. Maybe more for Ken, I suppose, but is there an update on the status of Manson, Wiseman, and Gulletson, the other members of the coaching staff? Are they all back?
I'll let Jay handle that, Reed.
Okay.
Yeah. So hi, Reed. First of all, for us, this contract just got settled yesterday. Obviously, since the end of the season, I've done some thinking, with yesterday, the news happened quickly, and I'm looking forward to sitting down and getting the thoughts of all the people that you mentioned there. We obviously had a good run to end our year, but looking forward to sitting down and hearing everybody's thoughts on where they're at as well.
Okay. Well, I guess if I make a comparison from your career, like is Dave Manson what you were to Todd? Like, is the relationship similar or that close?
Yeah. I mean, when I was presented with the opportunity to go down to Bakersfield, one of the things that I put a lot of time and effort in was making sure that I surrounded myself with people that I thought were going to push me and make me better. I didn't know Dave at that time, but obviously over the last 4 years, we've done a lot of coaching together, and we've done some winning together over that period of time. I think he complements my personality because he's different. He's someone who, obviously he's played over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, was an NHL All-Star, played different roles on teams. And I think, we work well together. So obviously for Dave and I, we have a relationship that goes back to that original hire in Bakersfield. I feel very comfortable with them, but I'm looking forward to sitting down, as I am with all the coaches, and getting their thoughts and seeing where they're at, and then moving on from there.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, go ahead.
Hi, this might be a question for both of you, but I assume I'll probably start with Ken here. Obviously the last couple of weeks, the season ended a couple of weeks ago, and you said how well Jay had done. Can you just explain the process from the end of the year to ultimately signing the contract with Jay. What was that timeline like, and how did it kind of come to be?
We lost, Daniel. We lost on a Monday night. I think it must be about 2 weeks ago. And then basically the rest of that week, Tuesday through Friday, we did exit meetings. Jay and I with the players. Obviously they're anxious to get out of town. And then I think that was sort of a weekend to take a breather. And then last Monday or Tuesday, I think Jay and I sat down one-on-one here. I told him that I wanted to have him. It was our first opportunity to really sit down and talk about his situation. When I hired Jay in February, I'd said his mandate was to come in and get us in the playoffs and see what we could do once we got in. He obviously lived up to his end of the bargain. And I said that when the season was over, that he and I would sit down and talk about, going forward. So last Tuesday was the first time that we had an opportunity to sit down, and I told Jay that I wanted him to be back as the head coach. Jay has an agent, Francois Jaguar, former NHL assistant general manager, and basically Wednesday through yesterday, we went kind of back and forth, Francois, to find a solution. Trying to find anytime you're signing people, whether it's players, coaches, staff. Obviously you try to find comparables. Everybody wants to be treated fairly. The team wants to be treated fairly. The employee wants to be treated fairly. So Francois and I went through a process and kind of took a breather over the weekend, and then spoke yesterday morning and brought it to a conclusion. And then obviously the news got out yesterday afternoon that we had found a solution on a 3-year contract.
Recording in progress.
If I may, just Jay, what was this process like for you as somebody who, has gone from a video coach to now a head coach, but having maybe to, I don't know if you had to vouch for yourself or anything like that in this type of situation. What was it like to try to sign a long-term contract with an NHL team like this?
Well, first off, when I got the opportunity in February, Ken gave me that direction of, get us into the playoffs and to win games and see what happens once we got there. For me at the time, and I've told this story over the last few weeks to a few different people, I felt that was really freeing, because it allowed me just to try and make decisions with that direction in mind. And I thought the team performed well. I thought each day was an opportunity to show what not only I could do, but what our staff could do. And I thought, there was a lot of positive signs in how the team ended the season, and made its way into the playoffs, and then did a little bit of damage by winning 2 rounds. So for me, it wasn't vouching for myself or anything like that. I think the body of work spoke for itself. Last week, as Ken said, when we sat down and met, he let me know that he wanted me to be the head coach of the team going forward, on a full-time basis. And I let him know that that I was interested in being the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. And as I said at the start, it's a big responsibility, and one that I take very seriously, and I feel humbled and privileged to have been put in that position. And I'm excited about our players and our people. And as I said earlier, for us, the work for next year has already begun.
Rob Chichkowski, go ahead.
Jay, I just want to flip back to April 2018. Why did you go to the American Hockey League? You had a good reputation as an assistant in the league. I'm sure there would have been openings. Was this all part of the long game that you thought would one day get you to this day?
Well, for me, I had the belief that I had what it took to become a National Hockey League head coach. Ken talks a lot about the resume and having a resume that speaks for itself. And for me, obviously got my start in Detroit in an entry-level position. I worked my way up in San Jose, eventually became the lead assistant coach for Todd McLellan. Had some great international opportunities, winning gold with Team Canada at the World Championships, getting involved with Team North America at the World Cup of Hockey. But for me, the one thing I didn't have on my resume at that time was head coaching experience. And I thought when I was presented with the opportunity to go to Bakersfield, it allowed me to grow in a different way. I think the American Hockey League is a heck of a league. It allows people to grow, not just players, but it allows coaches to grow as well. I learned a lot about myself and what my beliefs were as a coach during my time in Bakersfield. And I think it's a good lesson for lots of coaches out there is that, you want to make sure everyone wants to be to get to the highest level and achieve your dream. But I think there's value in taking your time, and there's value in hitting the incremental steps along the way. And for me, my experience in Bakersfield was excellent, and I'm happy that I made that choice. It's a big part of why I'm here today.
Yeah, there's no assurances that come with that. You could have been riding the buses for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, was there a point where you're thinking, I hope this happens soon. This is getting to be a grind. What was your mindset, years 2, 3, 4?
Well, for me, I took it as an opportunity to work at my craft and to be around some special people. We had a lot of really good people in Bakersfield. So I tried not to get ahead of myself. It was putting the work in required to be successful should I ever get that opportunity. And as I said, the American Hockey League is an excellent league. It's a development league. I took my role very seriously. And in terms of, my belief in self, I'm wholly sure of my message and my own ability, while remaining humble and understanding that you got to be patient and waiting for opportunities. And I just wanted to make sure that I was ready when that opportunity presented itself. And for me, to develop that way in Bakersfield, it was a privilege to be the head coach in Bakersfield, as it is right now. It's a privilege here to be the head coach in Edmonton.
Tim Campbell, NHL.com.
Jay, congratulations on your deal.
Thanks, Tim.
Could you describe where your exit meetings with the players are leading you in terms of an off-season focus and preparing for next season? Thanks.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Tim. For me, I think both Ken and I had some really good exit meetings, good feedback from our players. I think the people in our organization and this year's version got a taste for playing deep in a playoffs, playing hockey in the month of June. But I don't think anybody's satisfied with just that. I think we understand that there's a whole lot of work that's going to be required in order for us to have the season we want to have next year. We looked at this season and some people would call it a successful year. For us, we're driven to take the next step, ask ourselves hard questions, be open to the seeking of answers to try and push us forward. And for me, that starts with being disciplined with our summertime, making sure that we're putting in the necessary work to feel good heading into training camp, being prepared to lay a foundation in training camp that will set us up for success over an 82-game schedule. For me, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about rolling up my sleeves and getting to work come September, because I really believe that's where a lot of gains can be had in implementing a system that's suited towards your personnel And as I said, I think everybody here feels good about how far we played, but nobody's self-satisfied. We're digging in to try and get better each and every day, and not by accident, not accidentally, but intentionally.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
Congrats, Jay. Good to see you.
Hi, Mark.
I would ask you this. You showed up in a big hurry in February, and you took over a team that was in the middle of the schedule. You went on a big, long road trip. You were probably trying to implement change in smaller windows, I would say. What difference will we see with the Jay Woodcroft team where you have all summer and a training camp and a proper season to sort of install the things you want to install? What are the things you can do heading into next season that maybe you didn't have time to do this season?
Yeah, good question, Mark. For me, I think there's a sequence of events that has to occur first. And the first thing is that there's a draft to be held. So that's number one. The draft will be held. Free agency will occur. And then once we have a better look at the players that will be available to us, come September, we'll devise as a coaching staff a system best suited for our personnel. And I think when you have the time to not only think about the things that are occurring at the highest levels in the NHL, the trends in the game, the tactics that are being used, and you have the time to digest how best to implement or teach those things. I think that's important is to have a finger on the pulse of what's having success in the NHL today and where the NHL is going. I also think you use the time in the summertime to carefully reflect and try and find some answers in the work that you put in to seriously go over the things that went right, and to also think about the growing moments that occurred in the season. That's how you get better from your experiences, by reflecting and being truthful with what you were seeing. So I think that's what your focus as a coaching staff is in the summertime. When you get into September, that's the implementation stage of trying to implement some of those ideas. I think, as a staff, we're going to do our work this summer. We're not, it's not like we're taking the time off. We're going to do our work this summer. We're going to honestly evaluate all aspects of our game. And we're going to find areas where we can be better, find areas that we want to accentuate. And we're going to build off some of the things that we laid down during those 4.5 months.
So let us in a little bit on your personal life. Now that you're not a interim guy, you're here for 3 years, hopefully more. Family comes up, you're going to live here. Kids are going to go to school here. What's all that going to look like for the Woodcroft family?
Yeah, the Woodcroft family is very excited because my wife is born and raised in Edmonton. Her parents still live in Edmonton. She has sisters, and our kids have cousins. So everybody's very, very excited about that. Where we're at is we got to try and find a place to live, schooling, activities, all that kind of good stuff. But I think just to take a deep breath at the end of this season and at the end of this contract negotiations, my family and I are headed back to our cottage in Ontario, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on the water. My kids are going to go to camp, but rest assured, come August, the Woodcrofts are very excited about, putting down some roots here in Edmonton.
Thank you.
John Sexsmith, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Ken, I know you talked about it off the top, but why is Jay the right man for the job?
Well, first off, the way the team responded to him, I mean, obviously we're in a results-oriented business, and when we took over, or when Jay took over, I think we were 6 or 7 points out of a playoff spot. What were we? I was reading 26-9-3 or something. The last 38 games last year, we played it in the top 5 in terms of points, and obviously we went to the Final Four. So number one, Jay delivered. He came in and made the decisions that were needed to make, and the team responded, and our team played at a high level. And then I think, in fact, as Jay talked, they talked about resume. Jay's been in the National Hockey League since 2005-06, 3 years as a video coach working with under Mike Babcock and Todd McClellan. Then he went from being a video coach, he went to the bench to be an assistant coach with Todd in San Jose, and then he came here to Edmonton with Todd. Then he went back to the American League to be a head coach. So he's paid his dues. It's not like he's a first-year NHL head coach coming into this season, but he's been in the National Hockey League for 15, 16, 17 years, waiting for this opportunity. So I think it's a combination of a whole lot of things. It's a combination of being in a results-oriented business. He delivered. The team delivered under his watch. In talking to the players in the exit meetings, they all believe in his direction. They all believe in his leadership. They believe in his communication. And then again, from my point of view, I look at the resume, and he's paid his dues and learned from a lot of the top people, and went back to the American League, and where you make decisions, and some work and some don't, and you wait for your opportunity to eventually be a head coach at the NHL level. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things that ultimately factored into the decision that I made to bring Jay back, or sign
Thanks,
Jay
Ken.
on.
And Jay, one for you. Congratulations,
Sure.
first of all.
Thanks, John.
I know you're not a guy to talk about yourself, but today might be that day. Do you treat this day retrospectively, thinking about all the sacrifices you made along the way to get to this point and fulfill your dream, or are you thinking ahead?
Well, John, I'm going to say what I would say after a win. I'm going to enjoy this for about the next 10 minutes or so, and then move on for our preparations for next season. But no, it's a big, in all seriousness, it's a big day for my family. As I said, I've used the word privileged. I feel privileged for this opportunity. And I'm committed to making good on it because I think it's a huge responsibility. And but certainly everybody in my family is super excited. And as I said, I'm proud that I'm the head coach for such a historic organization like the Edmonton Oilers.
Thanks. Way to go. Have a great summer.
Thanks, Sean.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Chad, go ahead.
Hey, this question's for Ken Holland. Ken, I know that Dave Tippett had some input in some of the free agency decisions. A little bit different in this situation because, Jay and potentially Dave Manson have spent a lot of time with, your farmhands and that sort of thing. But how much latitude and input do you look for out of your head coach? And is it different when this is really the first head coach opportunity Jay's had at the NHL level, as opposed to Tip, who'd, been a head coach for a couple other organizations?
I'm just trying to think as you're talking, Bob. I've probably worked with 5 or 6 coaches. I think Scotty Bowman and, through Mike Babcock and Dave Lewis. And so I've always, the coaches behind the bench and has to coach the team. So I always, is heading into the off season, I've always asked the head coach his thoughts on the team, his thoughts on each individual player, his thoughts on what he would like to see us accomplish over the off season. I also ask the captain and the leadership group of whether I was in Detroit or in Edmonton. So then you have your pro scout meetings and you get their opinions and you go through your analytics and you ultimately work your way towards decision making time. So Jay will obviously, Jay and I have talked, some about the team. We're going to have pro scout meetings here shortly. Jay's going to, be sitting in and give Jay an opportunity to tell our group what he's thinking. And then obviously there's a salary cap. There's now you see what you can make happen. So Jay will have influence in the sense that he and I are going to talk on a regular basis, and I think we've worked together before. So I think we both want the same things. We want to find a way to make the team a little bit different, a little bit better. And obviously there's salary cap constraints.
Thank you.
Andrew Bowman, go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry, guys. I just have a question for each person. I'll start with Jay. I just wonder who the first call was that you made once the contract was all complete. Who did you think of first, and what did you say?
Well, first call actually was Ken, because Ken called to let me know that that we had agreed to terms, because that type of thing happens between the agent and Ken. But Ken called immediately and let me know how excited he was. And then my wife was right beside me, and so we told her. We talked about it as a family, because my kids were there as well. And it was a special moment for us. And then the first phone call I made was to my brother and best friend, Todd Woodcroft, who's been, supportive along the way. I'm fortunate that I have two great brothers, and my brother Todd and my brother Craig, and we have a tight family, and excited about it.
And Ken, I apologize for kind of shifting the focus away from Jay, but I did have one team question. Bill Daly said before the start of the Cup final that possible that the Evander Kane grievance might extend past free agency, and I just wonder how that might impact your ability or your way you might go about signing him if it does extend past the start of free agency.
That's a great question. I obviously I don't really have an answer for you, because I guess it's sort of uncharted waters. So I'm trying to gather as much information as I can. Obviously Bob Nicholson was at the Board of Governors meetings. I know Bill Daly addressed the Board of Governors. I've had multiple talks with Dan Milstein. Dan was actually in Edmonton for a couple of days here last week with Andrei Kuzmenko, the Russian that made a decision to sign with Vancouver. So we obviously we had lots of time also to talk about Evander. So like I said, it's uncharted waters. I don't really have an answer for you, because it's not like this situation happens on a regular basis. So I don't really have an answer for you. I'm just going to we're going to try to do the best that we can based on the information that we have. Certainly the hope is to be able to bring Evander back, but obviously there's this situation. Obviously there's the cap, there's certainly Evander and his agent, their wants and needs, and hopefully everything aligns up that we can bring him back.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes our media availability. Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Ken.
Thanks for everybody for coming.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Recording.